This is going to take a lot. Whew, a lot of strength and a lot of just, pray for me. Hey everybody. So, okay, first I just want to say that it is like 1:30 in the morning when I'm filming this video. I figured since I had the drive to film it, I was just going to go ahead and do it. As most of you guys know, I am a very, very, very private person. I normally don't talk about my life too much. I don't talk about any struggles I have. I don't really talk about my family all that much. But today I thought it would be a good idea just to sit down and talk about this particular topic, because I think that a lot of times this topic gets swept under the rug. And if it doesn't get swept under the rug, people just aren't talking about it. Or maybe people have symptoms and they don't realize what's going on. So today I am here to share my story dealing with hypothyroidism and what I went through. Maybe it'll help some of you guys out if you've ever been through it. I'm going to talk about when I first realized I had it, what happened, what my doctors did to help me get through it, and just all kinds of stuff. So sit back, relax, grab a snack, and we're going to get into the video. Alright, so my journey begins about 4 years ago. I noticed that I was gaining a lot of weight for just no apparent reason. I was just getting fat. I mean, bigger than this. At my heaviest, I was 260 pounds. Yeah, I was a big girl. During the time when I started gaining weight, I realized that I was having issues sleeping. I just couldn't sleep for nothing. I would be dead tired and just couldn't go to sleep. It was a nightmare. And when you're married to somebody and they're trying to sleep and you can't sleep, you've got the light on or whatever the case is, you end up on the couch, and it really puts a strain on your relationship. So that wasn't fun. And because I wasn't sleeping, I was constantly tired. No matter what time of day it was, I just had no energy to do anything. Couldn't, deal with my kids. I couldn't get up to just clean the house, take care of the dog, nothing. It was really, really bad. And because I was so tired, I was always in a bad mood constantly. Like, I think at that time I was doing YouTube, but it was just like I would put it on a front for the camera like, hey, how you guys doing? It's a great day. But on the inside, I was just like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do anything. The biggest thing that I noticed when I was, going into hypothyroidism, but I didn't know it, was hair loss. I would brush my hair and it would just literally fall out. I would buy deep conditioning packs because I thought, maybe I just don't have, maybe I need collagen in my hair. Something's going on. It's just thinning. So once that happened, I started going and buying all this different stuff for my hair, and with the hopes that it would grow, and it still didn't grow. It just kept falling out. So fast forward, I had dealt with this for maybe 4 months before one tragic thing happened that led me to the discovery of my hypothyroidism. So a few months went by and I ended up getting very, very sick. It was during that time where I found my sick day makeup. I was sick. I had pneumonia, and I didn't realize it until finally at the time my husband was like, you know what? We need to get you to the doctor. We need to figure out exactly what's going on. You can't breathe. You can't sleep. You're not eating. Fast forward to, we get to the doctor and they do chest x-rays. They take my labs. They, do everything they can do to figure out what's wrong with me. Come to find out, I had pneumonia. Okay. So we go ahead, they get my medicine going. We're figuring out how long I need to take these antibiotics, and we're setting up the 7-day post visit. And I go home, I take my antibiotics, I start to relax a little bit, I start feeling a little bit better. Well, a couple days into my treatment, my doctor calls me. I'm thinking, yay, she's got some good news. My labs came back great, everything's gonna be fine. I got my antibiotics, I'm gonna be good, straight, I'm gonna feel better, yes. No, that wasn't the case. She called me and said, I really want you to come in. We have something that we need to talk about. Well, backtrack a little bit. During the time that I was gaining a ton of weight, I was having heartburn and indigestion issues, and it would actually hurt for me to eat. So, if you think about it, I'm unable to eat, but I'm gaining weight. Situation. Yes. I go into her office, we sit down and talk. She pulls up my chest x-ray, and she says, okay, I don't know if you've noticed yet, but we were looking at your x-rays and realized that you have a goiter on your thyroid. What? So for those of you guys who are not familiar with a goiter is a growth on the thyroid itself. It doesn't always stop the thyroid from doing what it needs to do and making the thyroid hormone, but in this case, it was stopping mine. So at this point, I'm crying because I'm looking at the x-ray and my esophagus is like in an S type of way. Basically what's happened is this goiter was so big that it had pushed my esophagus over. So imagine the goiter is here and my esophagus is now, it's a mess, so it's in an S shape. So they give me my options. They tell me, okay, well, this is what we can do. We can start HRT as soon as possible because your thyroid is not making enough hormones. So you're going to get sicker if we don't do something about this. So we're getting ready to leave the doctor's office, and she comes back out again and she says, I don't think HRT is going to help. We have to take this out because we feel it's going to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Well, at the time, it was a decent size. It was about maybe a little bit smaller than my fist, but it wasn't protruding through my skin yet. It was well on its way. So we ultimately decided that a thyroidectomy was the best course of action for me. For those of you who don't know, a thyroidectomy is when they just go ahead and take everything out. They go ahead and take the entire thyroid out. So fast forward, we schedule the surgery. I have the surgery. Recovery is horrendous. I had this tube that was under my, I don't know if you want to call it my throat. And this is where we get into where a lot of people ask me why it's so dark right here. It is actually a scar from when I had my thyroidectomy. But my surgeon did a great job of like taking the fat I already had and kind of folding it over. So it looks like a fat roll, but underneath it, it's a legit scar. During the healing process, I couldn't move my head really well. I had this little bulb because it was draining all of the yucky stuff out. I went to the doctor a couple times to get it looked at, make sure everything was going great, there was no infection. Now the sucky part comes, because when you have a thyroidectomy or you have hyperthyroidism where your thyroid is creating too much hormone, or you have hypothyroidism where your body's not creating enough thyroid hormone. Sometimes they will give you medicine to kind of help stabilize you, kind of help get your body to have the thyroid hormone that it needs to function properly. Well, we start doing my lab. When they do the labs, it's kind of like a trial and error type thing. So they start you out with one dosage and hope for the best. They hope that that'll work and they go on from there. Well, they gave me a ton of dosage because at the time, as I said, I was heavy. I was 265 pounds. So they had to give me a dosage for my body weight, and at the time they had to overcompensate for the thyroid hormone that I didn't have, that I hadn't had for months at that point. So we get that dosage, we are trying it out, and over the course of a week, I start feeling a little better. I'm like, hey now, I'm feeling great. I have energy. I'm able to play. I'm able to film YouTube videos. I'm able to work. I'm able to do all these things. And I noticed I started losing weight as well. So losing weight to me was a huge deal. I had lost maybe 20 pounds within the course of 2 weeks. Now, I know that sounds really bad. It sounds awful. No one should lose 20 pounds in the course of 2 weeks. But for me, it was necessary because if you guys know me personally, I'm only 5'6". So having that kind of weight on you, it takes a toll on your joints, your bones, everything. So to see it melt off was like, it was like heaven for me. So we go back. I'm doing labs every 2 to 3 weeks-ish, just so we can find the right dosage for me. So just to backtrack, we're finding the right dosage because I no longer have a thyroid and I'm no longer getting thyroid hormone through my body, hence the labs. So we go back and we check my labs again, and of course they find out I'm giving way too much hormone. Not only was I getting enough to sustain my body for the day, I was also getting enough to where I was pretty much overloading my system. And once they realized how much weight I lost, it was so funny. I was like, yeah, we need to stick with this because I need to get back to my target weight of 150. This is what it's going to take. And this is what we're going to do. Of course, my doctor was like, nah, bitch, we can't do that because you're losing weight too quickly. So they adjust my dosage again, and hopefully about 3 weeks later, I really started to stabilize. I started to sleep a little bit better. My mood was lifted, and I kind of bottomed out at my weight loss. Keep in mind, I'm still about 230 pounds at this point. So we keep going. I had maybe 7 or 8 different rounds of labs done before we settled on the dosage that I have now. Today, about 2.5, 3 years later, I feel amazing. I'm so happy that we found what the problem was. Granted, it was not in the best of circumstances, but I feel a whole lot better. I really wanted to share this story because I think that a lot of people, especially of the African American community, we don't go see the doctor when something is wrong. We wait until the last possible minute to go and do something about our health. That's not the best thing to do. I don't like the doctor at all. And I have to be really honest. If I don't need to go, I won't go. Simple as that. It's gonna sound really strange, but honestly, I'm really thanking God that I ended up with pneumonia, because if I hadn't, I would never have gone to the doctor to figure out what was going on with me. And I have to thank my husband, because at the time, it wasn't until after I was maybe 4 or 5 days in with pneumonia that we actually went to the doctor. So who knows what would have happened to me if I hadn't gotten sick and went and gotten things checked out, you know? I just want to say, learn from me. Don't ignore any symptoms that you may have for anything. It doesn't have to be the symptoms I went through. If your body's telling you something's not right, something's not right. Get it checked out. Get it looked at. Figure it out. I mean, at the end of the day, a doctor can help you feel better. And at the end of the day, that's what we want anyway. So I really hope that my story helped some of you guys. If you feel you're going through it, I'm not a doctor, obviously. I can only tell you my journey. All right, you guys, I really hope you all enjoyed the video. If you are going through the same thing, I completely can relate and I completely understand. Just hang in there. Deal with the labs. Deal with the doctor visits. Deal with whatever you have to do to feel better. All right, so I'm going to wrap it up here. I really hope you all enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.